Hey, it's Tom from Texas, and it's time for another Floppy Deep Dive. And this video is sponsored by...
When you're needing a PCB board, either small, medium, large, and different colors, exactly how you're needing it, PCBWay is the place to go, and I love it for when I'm using my retro computers and I need that. I like to jump over to the projects page on the computers and USBs and look at all the different things that people did on the projects dealing with the Commodore 64, from doing the Commodore 64 PLA replacement to doing joystick joypads when you're doing retro gaming to doing a keyboard. They have so many cool different projects that you can make using their PCBWay boards, and I love it for all my retro computer and computer gaming needs. So check out PCBWay.
And today we are doing another episode of
What's on that floppy?
And I just love going to this. We're going back to the Commodore world. I know the past few videos we were looking at some other systems which I enjoy and love. And the reason I love those so much is all because of my love of the Commodore 64. I grew up with that as a kid, but now I'm kind of just exploring what else was out there that I missed. And I hope y'all are enjoying that journey too, seeing different hardware and different software and how they actually work. And that's why I enjoy doing the mini faces videos too, and playing all those different older retro computer systems and those older consoles and so forth. Just enjoy it, and I hope you guys are enjoying that ride. This is also the 5th episode now for the keywords, so I hope you're keeping track of the keywords so you can win one of my retro posters, and I will ship it to whoever gets their name drawn for keeping up with all 8 keywords. And this is the 5th video, so if you haven't got the other 4 keywords, just go back and watch the 4 videos before this, and you can get all the keywords and catch up and get all 5. There'll be a total of 8 keywords in the end. We'll put your name in a drawing. I'll draw a name out and I'll send my retro poster somewhere in the world. So excited about that. I hope you guys are excited about that too. But let's go ahead. Let's check out this floppy. There's about 8 games I think on here in a demo. I haven't loaded it up yet, but I'm going to load it up and play some games, then give you my thoughts on those. Let's go ahead, pull up a chair, grab a joystick, and let's get started. So I wanted to share with you guys, I got some new original floppies. I'm always excited to get originals, and just wanted to show you what I got. I got quite a few here. I'm not sure if I'll go through them all or not, but let's just go ahead and look at some of them. So I got Alien Syndrome. Now I didn't get the box or the manual for any of these. Good old Aztec Challenge. But I wanted to share with you because they're awesome. Arkanoid. And I just love originals, Adventure Construction Set, because the reason I do love it is just because I get to see it. I've always had cracks. This is one I've never seen before. Arcade Game Construction Kit by Broderbund. I've never had that one before. Comes in a 2-disc set. Of course, the original Beachhead. I've got that on cassette, but now I've got the floppy too. I've got Crossfire, Championship Golf. I still need to test all these and make sure that they work. I got Castle Wolfenstein by Muse. Love to get anything by Muse, and the original Castle Wolfenstein's a cool one to get. I've got Dark Castle, Dragon's Lair, Desert Fox, Falklands 82, another gunship. I have that original in the box, so now I got a duplicate of it. The Great Escape. This is a very underrated game. I love this game, and it's so cool to get an original of it. Good old Gauntlet. Now I've got also some Firebird games. I got Go-Go the Ghost and Silu. Hess games, my very first game I ever got on the Commodore 64. Hard Hat Mac. Something called Implosion. Infiltrator 2. Iwo Jima. Adventure Creator. Lord's Conquest. Micro League Baseball. Music Construction Set. Something called Metro. There's 2 floppies in here. I don't know what it is. Ollie and Lisa and Mad Nurse. I got Pool of Radiance, but it only came with 3. I don't have disc A. I got B, C, and D. So anyway, still I gotta get those other ones. I got Plundered Hearts, Racing Deconstruction Set, very cool. Always love to get anything by Snaps 2. This is Sentinel, the original Summer Games classic. Starcross, can't make that one out. Sargon 2, Uridium, I don't know why there was 2 in that collection. I've got the World's Greatest Football Game, Warhawk and Caverns Aeroband. That was one of the games on one of my deep dives. Willow Pattern Adventure and the Happiest Days of Your Life. I've got Zork 3, Zork 2. Oh, this one's a really good one that I like. Got the original Zaxxon. Now that's cool, right? Chesterfield, I'm not sure what that is. Demon Stalkers by EA. The Designer's Pencil. Guerrilla War. Wargle. Adult Poker. Zero Gravity. Tracker. Tomahawk. Spectrum Holobyte, Star Empire, another Spectrum Holobyte, another Spectrum Holobyte. I'm not sure why there's so many of those. Railroad Tycoon, Plasmatron, Power Play Hockey USA versus USSR, Pilot, Mine Roll, Murder by the Dozen, some Movie Maker by EA, a Cracker Jacks, and last but not least, Gary Kitchen's Game Maker. So got a bunch of those originals. Just want to share with you guys what I picked up. I think it's cool. I love originals, love getting originals, and just wanted to share with you what I picked up. So let's go ahead and dive into our What's on That Floppy. So the first game we're going to look at today is Green Beret on the Commodore 64. It was released here in the United States in December of 1986, and it's known for this music that's playing. That's the loading music by Martin Galway. And this game is very, very difficult. I don't know if you've ever played it, but it's based on the arcade game Russian Attack, and that's the other name that went by. And Russian Attack is just a play on the words of Russian Attack. Anyway, but when it was released on the computer systems, they changed the name to Green Beret, and I enjoy this game a lot, even though it is very difficult. It's very fast paced, and they're coming at you very, very quick. The white guys drop items, so when you want to try to pick up different things, that's the guy you want to kill. But you're just starting off at first. I wish I had a gun that could just shoot these people, but it's more just like a bayonet or something that I have, and I'm just stabbing them. And I just died constantly. I thought I've got farther in here, and maybe if I played it more, I could get farther along. But right now, I am not getting very far along at all. For not playing it for over 30 years, I was terrible. I always, when I see these different bridges with the same shape when you're driving around the country or wherever you're at, it always brings up this game in my memory, just to the design of the bridge when you're climbing and fighting these different guys. But I thought Green Beret was a blast. It is very hard. The guys move just so fast, and it's just, you're always just constantly just trying to stay alive. You got guys coming in from the front, from the back. The blue guys are very, just sometimes change their actions of what they do and makes it even harder to go. And just a very tough game. And like I said, if you ever played it, you would know how difficult this was. So I was not very good. There's actually 4 different levels, and the idea is you want to free prisoners of war. It's all left to right, and different ladders you can move along. I found that staying kind of at the middle level was the easiest way to do, even though it didn't help me once, because you just constantly getting attacked by different people while you're going. But it's just so much fun. There's different weapons. There's a knife, there's a flamethrower, there's a bazooka, there's hand grenades. There's the different enemies are the different colors that do different things within there. It is just really, really cool. The different levels are the missile level, the harbor level, the bridge level, and the prison camp level. So just a really, really good one to start off with. I love this game. I played this Floppy quite a bit when I was a kid, just because you could just get in there and start playing. You know what you got to do. You just got to do it, and it was very, very challenging. So, did you play Green Beret? I think most people did, but it's just a great port from the arcade, Russian Attack, and loved playing it. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So next we're going to be looking at a game called Helikopter JAGD, and it was released by Ocean in 1986. And it's a shoot 'em up game, and I really enjoyed playing this. I liked being the helicopter, and basically you're this pilot of this rescue helicopter, and you got to save these different castaways or different people in the ocean, and it's really fun. But while you're trying to do all this, you've got jets attacking you, you've got other helicopters attacking you, you've got all these different things going on while you're trying to rescue. Heat seeker missiles are coming out at you, even UFOs will come out after you. The patrol boats you could drop bombs on while they're going by. The different types of islands that you see out there. There's people on parachutes that you could rescue. So just a lot going on in the game, and I really enjoyed it. I played it quite a bit. Probably was one of the games on this disc that I played the longest right now today when I was playing the game, because it was just fun. I know it's probably not as popular as some of the other games out there, like the Green Beret and so forth, that people are aware of. But if you've never played this one, this is a good D64 file to go out and download if you only have an emulator, or get it and put it on a floppy and load it up on there, and I guarantee you'll have a blast. It's got, up at the top you can see where it has your fuel and your altitude and your stability and how many lives you have, and it tells you when islands are inhabited, so you know to go down there to rescue them. And there's also fuel tanks that you can go and pick up. And just so much fun. Like I said, just a lot of stuff going on, and it's just an interesting game. They did a really good job putting together. It's really simple, so it's easier to just go right into it and start playing. So if you haven't checked this one out, I highly recommend it. I give it 2 thumbs up. Was like I said, one of the fun ones for today that I got to play and really enjoyed it. I do remember playing it a little bit as a kid back in the day, but not really too much for me to remember, because playing this almost felt like playing it for the first time today, because it's just been that long and I just don't have a lot of memory of it. So, recommend it, thumbs up. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game. The keyword for today for the poster contest is tentacle. The keyword is tentacle. So the next game we're going to be looking at is The Human Race, and it's a video game that was released in 1985 by Mastertronic for the Commodore 64, and it's set in various stages of human evolution. And it was released directly in paperback, and it was appreciated by the magazines of the time, and in particular for the music of Rob Hubbard. As we know, Rob Hubbard's very popular for Commodore 64 and the music that he created, and this was one of the games that he worked on. In this game, it consists of 5 levels
with completely different game mechanics. In each level, it's an increasingly evolved ancestor of a man is controlled. First is an ape, and I never got past the ape. I had enough trouble just trying to get across on this. And then going from there for different types of caveman and finally Homo sapiens. And the first level is a platform with a two-dimensional screen, and the ape's got to jump over all these tangled branches of the jungle to reach and eat bananas, and you got to avoid different types of prehistoric animals coming at you, and like the mosquitoes, huge mosquitoes and everything. And it is just a really, really interesting game. I did not play this one a lot as a kid. I liked the in-between, the pterodactyl flying down and taking your lives away, but after a while that just got old and tedious because I was constantly dying, and they were constantly flying down and taking it away. And this came out of the UK, so this was basically directly released in Europe and then came over here. I'm sure it was originally released as a PAL game, and then it was converted over for the NTSC for here. But I enjoyed it. I like the human race. Again, it's just a single player game, and your controls kind of change on each time the different way, and they'll tell you the different ways of how it would work. But if you hadn't checked this one out, I also give this one thumbs up. I think if I played it long enough and got a little bit better and got the patterns down to figure out exactly how not to die all the time, it would be pretty fun. For a Mastertronic game, which are mostly budget games, they really did a good job in here. And to get Rob Hubbard to do the music for it is pretty impressive. So, like this one, give it 2 thumbs up. Definitely worth checking out. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game. So the next game we're going to be looking at is Miami Vice. And Miami Vice was released in 1986 by Ocean Software. Again, this is another UK game that came out. And this one is a single player action game. And the game is kind of presented of a top-down perspective where you can see the scrolling from side to side. And the main objective of the game is to derail various shipments of drugs controlled by the Miami Vice series antagonist Mr. J. So that's the whole idea of what you're supposed to be doing. And something that's interesting that kind of ties to other games on this floppy is the popular music. So we mentioned Rob Hubbard, but another popular musician who made games was Martin Galway. And he made music for these Commodore 64 games. And so he made the music for the Green Beret that we looked at. He made the music for the Helikopter JAGD that we looked at. And now he also did the music for the Miami Vice. So he's been kind of a tie in all this. And obviously I didn't have any control of that when I was a kid, but it's kind of interesting that all these games tie back to him. And like I said, he was a composer of the chiptune video game music for the Commodore 64. He was from Ireland. So just another one that I wanted to mention if you never heard him. But if you ever want to check out, he did quite a few different games and a lot of music on the Commodore 64. But let's get back to the gameplay of Miami Vice. So of course Miami Vice is based off the TV show, a popular TV show in the 80s. I never watched it in the 80s, but of course it had an impact on the culture and the dress and everything in the 80s, and you don't get much more 80s than Miami Vice. But in this game you actually could do more than just drive around like I was doing and keep crashing and blowing up every time I touch something exploding. You actually can get out and go into these different rooms, but I never could get that far along to be able to do it. I kept crashing so easily. The control of the car wasn't very good. And then, of course, the side of the road, it's just, I did not like this game, to be honest with you. I did not play it much. I find it as frustrating as I did back in the day when I tried to play it, just because it was so just hard. It was just hard to be able to control the car, to be able to drive, and be able to do what you needed to do. I think back in the day it didn't get really good of a reviews either, and I could see why. It just wasn't really good. I would actually give Miami Vice this game a thumbs down. I didn't enjoy playing it. I found it just irritating, the fact that I kept blowing up. And let's go ahead and move on to the next game. Next, we're going to be looking at a game called Blue Thunder that was released in 1984 for Commodore, the ZX Spectrum, and the Atari 8-bit platform. And this is just a side view arcade shooter game, and it's another helicopter game that was on here. And this is based off a short-lived TV series called Blue Thunder, and apparently also a movie. So first came a movie, then they made a TV series on it, and then they also made a video game. Well, I missed all that because I did not see the movie, I didn't see the TV shows, and I do not ever recall playing this game. It is kind of basic if you look at it. The graphics aren't that great in this video game of Blue Thunder. And basically all you're doing is you're being attacked, it looks like, and you're trying to be able to control while you fly across these heavily defended islands and enemy stronghold, and you're trying to rescue your comrades. So again, trying to rescue people just like on the other one there. And anyway, it was just interesting that this one here, Blue Thunder, had so many tie-ins to other things, but the TV show apparently was a failure, only lasted a season. The movie, I didn't know. If I should see it, you guys let me know if I should check that out. But it's all supposed to be like a sci-fi type movie, because it's an alien assault that's happening and doing this. So very interesting. Not that fun of a game, I didn't think. That just kind of basic of the basics. Could have been a lot better. But definitely want to check it out since it was on here, and another one. But I would play the Helikopter JAGD way before I would play this Blue Thunder. So I would just say, meh, it's okay. So anyway, that's Blue Thunder. Let's go ahead and move on to the next item on this floppy. So next on their floppy, there was this demo called Max Headroom 2, and this is what you're looking at here. This is all it does. It's just a quick little demo. Can't get much more 80s than Max Headroom, Miami Vice, but this one here, Max Headroom kind of moving his mouth a little bit, and that's about all there is to it. So let's go on and see what the next game is. So next we're going to be looking at a game called Invasion, and this was another Mastertronic game that came out in 1987. And the genre of this game is supposed to be a shoot 'em up, action type game, but I really had no clue what I was doing here or how it works. So that's typical of when you're doing floppy deep dives and you don't have a manual, and you never did when you were a kid, when you got these crack games and you just had to figure out. Well, this is one I just never had a clue exactly what I was supposed to do in Invasion, and I don't think a lot of people even probably played this one. In fact, I would guess that most of you never even heard or seen this game before. But if you look at it, it kind of reminds you of kind of like a strategy type game where you would build stuff, and you have the trees and the different layouts and so forth on the map, and how you move around and what you would do. But I really am not sure what you're supposed to do. The description I found online said that I'm supposed to mobilize my units and prepare for battle. It's an all-action space conflict, requires skill, strategy, and tactics. You must destroy the weather control station in order to win the battle, but every move you make, the enemy will counter, and they're waiting for you to just make one false slip-up. So whatever that slip up is, I'm sure I did it because I didn't know what's mine and what's theirs and what I'm supposed to be attacking or anything. So this one I give thumbs down. I couldn't figure it out. If you played it, give me some comments about it and tell me what I was supposed to be doing. Let's go on to the next one. So last we're going to be looking at a game called Turbo Esprit, and it was released in 1986 for the Commodore, the ZX Spectrum, the Amstrad. And the game was very detailed and advanced for its time. And I can tell because I'm looking and I needed a manual for this thing also. And it had different things featuring like car indicator lights, pedestrians, traffic lights, and a view of the car's interior controls. And it was the first free roaming driving game, which is impressive. And it's been cited as a major influence on the later Grand Theft Auto series, which I didn't know that. I thought that's really interesting because this game was a little bit complicated too. But the object of the game is to prevent a gang of drug smugglers from completing a delivery of heroin by tracking down their cars and destroying them or ramming them into submission. And you basically have control of this of a special agent, and you're driving this car, which was been used in James Bond movies and stuff. But the player has to travel around and the four available cities looking for criminals. And I could never find one. I could just kind of go straight. I could go side and side, but I'm not really sure how I would turn. But basically needed to figure more out about this game. It seems interesting. I'm not just writing it off because I couldn't figure out in that short time that I was playing it to do the deep dive, because I think this would be one to go back and learn a little bit more about and see what to do. I think it could be fun. Obviously, I didn't get very far. I wanted to get farther, but it's really interesting, and it's interesting how it influenced other games and all the way up to the Grand Theft Auto series. And I could really see that. It makes sense that this is something they were looking at, because it definitely has that kind of vibe, early vibe, compared to those games. But interesting that this is what they caught on to and made it. A lot of people liked this game. They had positive reviews, and I could see that. Like I said, I think I would need just to get the manual for this so I can know exactly what I'm doing and how to move around in it, and I would enjoy it much more. And once I figure that out, I could start figuring out how to take these cars out and find exactly where I could see on the map and see where different things were being said, were going down and happening. I just couldn't figure out really what else to do. I needed more information. So this one I'm definitely going to dive into again and try to see if I can figure out and play it a little bit more. But I wanted to share it with you guys that was on there. Thought it had a great history and I thought it was interesting. So we'll end up with this game here. Let me know if you ever played Turbo Esprit. Like I said, I don't remember playing it as a kid, but definitely one that I think would be worth checking into and playing a little bit more. So let's go ahead and get this floppy deep dive, what's on that floppy, wrapped up.
So that's it, guys. That's everything that's on this floppy. I hope you enjoyed this journey checking out these different games on this floppy. Please put down in the comments the ones that you liked or played or didn't like or never even heard of. I love doing a little research and learning about these games as I go when I create these videos. And I learned probably most of my stuff from you guys when you put your comments down below about different games. I know in the past I've learned a lot, like this game I had out there called Yo-Yo. Came back, people told me it was called Frack. So it's just really cool just to get the whole story and get the little bit of pieces from everybody all over the world. So until next time, thank you for joining me on another floppy deep dive.